Stop listening! Instead, stream the uncut version of this discussion by either or both, tipping us on Ko-fi or joining a membership on either Ko-fi or Patreon via the links in the description. Oh, wait, hold on a second. What is happening right now? What is happening? Sorry to interrupt right now. That sneaky ass Ginger, not you, Jamie. Jamie is a fake Ginger. I just learned. Looks like Bridget is trying to pop on. And of course, here we are.
The baby's in my lap, and I'm trying to keep her off of social media at all costs.
But you can see my face.
I can. Hi.
We are Squawking Dead, a podcast pulverizing programs beyond the Walking Dead universe. Sometimes we give you news, sometimes we make you laugh. Most times we go deep. Hopefully, this time. I'm your host, David Cameo, and I'm joined by...
Hi, I'm Jason. I'm at Neo's the One on all your favorite socials.
Hi, I'm Jamie from Sci-Fi Vision, and it's at Sci-Fi Vision on all the socials, plus sci-fivision.com.
I'm so happy Jamie's back for another round of this, because she was with us with Diana from Screens in Focus for our Dark Wind Season 4 finale. And here we are discussing the Season 4 premiere of From Back Again. Here we are, titled The Arrival. And I'm very nervous because, let me just start off with saying this. The great thing about this episode, and I feel like invariably the other season premieres have done something very similar where we kind of somewhat run into straight in from where we were in the last season into this season, but it was never more felt in this one. And in the process of going into this season, they did a really good job of backtracking a touch into where we were left off, not just in the recap, but sort of in the process of moving into this season, which is why when I came on here first, Jamie, I was saying, I just don't know what we're going to talk about. I felt like they were just easing us into this episode, and it feels like there was no movement, really. They were just describing all the fallout and all their feelings, and so I'm like, no, have you seen these notes? Should I put them on the screen right now? It's just stupid. It is silly. A lot of highlights, a lot of underlines. I feel like I'm a serial killer board. Jeez Louise.
Can't wait to hear what you think.
I can't wait to hear what I think too. Jamie, you've already talked about this episode in particular. I don't know how much overlap there's been between the two discussions, but 6 hours already.
Yeah.
I'll let you describe how it's been so far.
It's been good, yeah. I have the deep dive and the review. So I've talked about it at length with different people. Clearly, I really like the episode. This
is a regular block of time that you do the deep dive and the review?
Yeah, on Sunday nights, we do the deep dive, and on Monday nights, we do the review. Sunday at 10:30 and Monday at 10.
Eastern.
Yes, always Eastern.
Always Jason.
Always, yeah, not Pacific.
Who's on the West Coast.
Yeah.
I like to think that The Moon Will Not Wear Pants Dave won't come out. But I have a feeling there may be some places where The Moon Wears Pants Dave will come out. I hope not, because that's not the show. Let's start with the title, The Arrival. How does the title relate to what we just saw?
A bunch of things arrived, even though it was the end of last season. The arrival of the man in yellow, the MIY, the arrival of the new pastor.
And maybe the exit.
Yeah, made his way there to the town. Also, Sophia.
I think at first glance, it's obviously Sophia and the pastor, but I think the most important thing is obviously when we find out that she's the man in yellow, because it's kind of going to change the whole game of the show from here on out. And they have no clue that now they do have a mole. They had the whole mole theory, and now it's kind of coming true in a different way that we didn't expect.
Is one of the residents working for the other side. Well, and I've heard in other discussions, and it's probably yours too, and of course, here we are.
I'm here. The baby's in my lap, and I'm trying to keep her off of social media at all costs, so I can't turn on my camera right now. I'm sorry, I'm late. It took
welcome back.
30 minutes to boot up the computer because it's been off for all of my maternity leave.
It's been off for 85 years. So happy you're here, Bridget.
Hi.
Now we know for sure that there is somebody who can change their appearance to be someone else in the community. Well, there's the arrival of Smiley, the monster Smiley.
Yeah.
Springboarding off of the possible mole. I think one of us had said that Clara of Colony House may have been a mole. I feel like at one point or another.
Is she the one that barges into the room?
Yes.
Yeah. She goes, hey, hey, Ellis and Fatima are here.
Yeah. She's
very unassuming.
Yeah, very. And then the kimono wearing lady was there, and then Clara comes in right after the kimono. It was something about that. There was something about heralding the kimono lady, but Clara comes in or before or after the kimono lady comes in Elgin's view or whatever, something like that. Then the whole lightning, I don't know if it was lightning striking or the light bulbs going out in Colony House when the Jim is trying to be on the radio, and then it hits Claire on the eye. Like, oh, she made that happen. Anyway, she was on my radar again today. Oh, and she was heralding the arrival of Ellis and Fatima to Colony House. Well, okay, there may be an arrival of something taking hold of the Matthews / the Liu house at the end.
Oh, right.
A presence, if you will.
I know what there isn't an arrival of. It's a tree. I didn't even notice that. Somebody else pointed that out to me, that there are no crows this time, which I think is very strange.
Yeah, no crows, but there's a man in yellow.
Oh, well, if there isn't any crows, what if the man in yellow is a crow? No, I'm not going there. The moon is not wearing pants today. I'm going to move on. But I will say that could connect to something that I had thought of, and something they actually, for once, put a clear button on, which was the number 47.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Boyd said he needed a head count from Kenny because if we're going to face eternity with these monsters or whatever, being torn apart by them or whatever, we can choose to take everybody out. And I just want to make sure I have enough bullets for every person in the town, which mirrors basically what Boyd's wife was doing at the beginning of the series or whatever when they were doing the backtrack. But regardless of that, the number 47 sticks out because one of the bigger or more clear theories is that every time someone goes or comes in, someone has to go or come in. And the one thing that has been bugging me a little bit is that, okay, we know that Jim goes and then somebody has to come in and take their place. But if the pastor is dead, then we're still out one person, 46.
You're not counting Sophia, though, because she wasn't there before when he counted. The crash was after that.
True, but
I wouldn't count Sophia.
Right. This is where you get into the hairy weeds because is Sophia a person or a monster?
I wouldn't count her because technically she was already there, because if it's the man in yellow, he was there to kill Jim. So he's already there.
Or was he there?
He had to catch a ride in with the pastor in order to get in to the town. I don't know. Curious George?
Oh, wait, unless the man in yellow was somebody else that was of the head count.
Maybe.
They'll be out someone else in that head count.
That seems so complicated.
Of one of the background
Dave.
actors.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
I'm trying to justify it.
Well, there's been delays in the replacement of people. It's not always been instantaneous, I don't think. So there could be somebody else coming, and we just don't know that yet. As soon as this pastor dies, it could trigger another entrance.
Someone else coming.
Yeah. This is very Slayer-esque, the line of Slayers from Buffy.
Really?
Can you explain that a little for people who don't know Buffy the Vampire
if you
Slayer?
don't know Buffy the Vampire Slayer, one, you should watch it, both the movie and the TV show.
It's like you can only have one Slayer at a time, basically, but it's not instantaneous. I think that's what she's referring to.
Yes, Dave, that's the rough situation.
I nailed it, everybody. Man in Yellow is pretty interesting because at times the Man in Yellow feels not benevolent, but kind, matter of fact.
Say kind.
What she says to the pastor is, what's happening to you isn't fair. I know that when you came to me, you had a kind heart. He even says this to Jim in a way. He says, your wife should have dug that hole, Jim. And then he says something to him on the radio. I think that was the same person, or supposedly it's supposed to be the same person.
The same person.
Yeah, even though it's probably a different voice actor at the time, obviously. He says a similar thing to Jim. He says something to the effect of, I always
liked you, or something like that.
Yeah. And then he tells him to go F himself. It's fine. Jim on his way out. So I just want to get your impression on the Man in Yellow overall.
He's terrifying on a whole nother level. The monsters in town have a level of simplicity to them. They want to scare you. They want to try to trick you. They're going to come smile at you. And generally they're pretty ominous. They do try to trick you, but it's pretty base level, just trying to trick you to let them in. Nothing more to it. This guy has big plans. It's really scary to think about that.
It's like they unlock the boss.
Yeah.
of the monsters.
Which they said, don't go
boss.
into the woods because there's worse things here. All of those things have been said over the last couple of seasons. He's one of the worst things.
Well, and what heralds his arrival, if not Jade playing at the bottle tree, all the Ankui kids, Sophia, quote unquote, says, with all they've learned, I couldn't show up as I was. And what I noticed the most out of this episode more than any other so far is the information sharing that was happening throughout the episode. It's starkly different from seasons past where, oh, if only these two spoke and if only they shared information, but it's happening a lot more frequently, a lot more this episode than ever before. For instance, the 47 people, it's information sharing for us. In case you were wondering, it's exactly 47 people. You're going to need to know that later to check off 47. Oh, Boyd telling every single person he meets, terrifyingly, by the way, he's doing the job of the monsters is one thing I want to add on the side. Why do they keep Boyd around? Why don't they kill him? Well, Boyd is losing his marbles. So as long as he's losing his marbles and scaring everybody, he's like, okay, yeah, I don't have to do much work. Have you seen a monster throughout this entire episode besides Smiley? No. Boyd is the monster in this episode. Anyway, so he's telling over and over everybody what happened in the caves, exactly what happened. Everybody, he's like, in stark contrast to seasons past, where it's like he tells one person because he's afraid people will think he's crazy. He knows he's crazy, so he's telling everybody now. So that's one thing that's out of the way. Marielle tells Boyd and Elgin had a seizure when he came in. Boyd tells Marielle that Ethan had one when he came in, and Sarah had one at the diner before she heard voices and sent messages in her flesh. This is a case where information or a storyline is stopped. What stops Boyd from fulfilling the idea of getting enough bullets for everybody in town? But Sophia and the pastor's arrival, he was like in the process of, let's just gather all the bullets so that they can't take us out. We'll just take ourselves out. Sophia comes in. That stops that. That kiboshes that entire idea.
I hadn't even thought about that because he grabbed Kenny. They probably went flying somewhere.
Yeah, otherwise they would have. No, they were forced to split apart. The other thing that we have to not lose sight of is that Kenny and he only just patched up their relationship. At the last episode, or the second to last, I can't remember exactly which. This is after a whole season of them kind of like not really talking, not being deputy and sheriff sort of situation. So here they are together in cahoots right now. Even though Boyd's talking about something crazy, Kenny's like, okay, no problem. It's fine. The place wants them to be together again for some reason. Oh, Fatima, right? Talking about this impression that she got as she was giving birth, as the music was playing. I remember distinctly when we were talking about this in the season 3 finale, the music was playing as she was giving birth, revealing the man in yellow, revealing this idea that she too, like Miranda / Tabitha and Jade / Christopher, knows about the bargain that the people in the woods struck to live forever, to sacrifice their children. Now, will Tabitha and Fatima get together? That sounds very similar. Tabitha, Fatima, and information share. Is there any other information sharing that goes on in this episode that I'm missing? Because I'm sure there is.
Boyd telling Donna about them arriving, but I don't know that that's secret information or anything.
But they didn't know, so now she does know.
Donna started saying to him, we got to decide what we're going to tell everybody, is basically what she said. And then he just sort of went into that explanation and they never finished it.
I love how that's ironic too, because it's like another thing is cut off, but in an effort to information share. So like, what are we going to tell the people downstairs? Shut up, Donna. I'm information sharing with you right now.
Right now, this is what's important.
Oh, well, this could be something too. Do you remember how the series starts off? The series starts off with this big ceremony with the Matthews. You must choose where you're going to live. Is it Colony House or is it the town? Oh, so we're segregated. We're not together. We're not united. That's the way things ought to be. Now Boyd's like going, hey, you want to stay over here? Yeah, sure. Okay, no problem, fine. Also, they're not at each other's throats. Isn't that interesting?
It makes me wonder if this is all cyclical. Is this then the part of it that leads to them tearing each other apart, like Sophia says at the end of the episode, them beginning to finally work together? Is this then their undoing?
Right. It's like a star collapsing. It has to kind of compress before it just explodes. They all have to be united. And as they get closer, they get under each other's skin. And Donna blows up at Boyd, and Boyd yells at Donna again. To contrast what was bookended twice in this episode, both the man in yellow saying to Jim and both Sophia at the end to the pastor. It's my favorite part. This is the part where they tear each other apart. Well, we're not seeing that right now. We're seeing a lot of information sharing, and maybe it is in contrast of what, like with everything they've learned.
I think it would be really interesting from a writing perspective to force the audience to feel like, all I want is for these two groups to work together. This is all I want. This is all I want. You finally get what you want, but it's the catalyst to their demise.
Calamity.
That's really interesting from a writing perspective. So I think that would be really engaging for the audience, as much as it would suck. And you kind of hate that. You don't want that to happen. It's good writing because it gives you more story.
So what you're trying to say is it's better that they don't information share, and that's how they leave. It's like, don't tell anybody anything.
Don't talk to anybody.
Yeah, Colony House stays at Colony House and the town stays at the town. Also, we don't talk about it. We don't talk about anything. Let's not try to leave either. But I will say there's some interesting things in this episode that I really, really wanted to dig in on. And one of those things, I didn't think you were going to show up, Bridget, was biblical.
I got so excited when there was a pastor coming. I was like, yes, there's going to be a religious component. I'm so excited. And then he immediately dies. I was like, never mind. Forget it.
Well, see, let's get this out of the way. It's a very small poll. Is the pastor dead? Because like we said, if the pastor's dead, we're down a person, which means, okay, another car can come in.
Well,
Fine.
No one's gone till they're gone, Dave. Maybe he's not. But I wonder if the goal is you don't want anybody else to come in, then you just need to kind of make him brain dead in a way, or
like a coma.
Yeah, like that he's still technically alive.
Yeah, could be. Yeah.
I don't know, because what rules are we playing by? Because this is what I was trying to say with the Buffy thing. Spoiler alert to a show that came out 30 years ago. Buffy dies at the end of the first season, but she's revived by Xander. It can't be Angel, her vampire boyfriend, because he doesn't have any breath. Her guy friend that she's friend zoned happens to also show up because he's in love with her, administers CPR, and she lives. But her momentary death triggered the calling of the next Slayer, who was a girl named Kendra. It's kind of like Highlander. There can only be one Slayer at a time to maintain the balance of good and evil. So the second Slayer that ends up showing up kind of disrupts the balance, which then creates an opportunity for evil. It's very Skywalker-esque, this whole good and evil balance. So it depends on what the rules are. Momentary death means that the next person comes, or you could maintain a coma and technically not be dead, quote unquote. Does that not call somebody, then the next person to come in?
Oh, I see. So it's like a cheat code,
I don't know.
right? So if he can simulate death and maybe somebody comes in, but then he's not dead, so something crazy
I don't know
happens
what rules
too.
we're playing by here.
Well, I mean, clearly there's a monster. If the man in yellow is a monster that is roaming around during the day, changing its shape, they kind of already sort of change their features.
Shapeshifter would be considered a monster, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
But to be a new one.
For this, but I just mean in general, a shapeshifter is
Sure.
considered a monster, I would think.
Yeah. And I'm sure we're going to see more monsters. Probably. Why not?
There's been giant spider, we assume.
Yeah. Or if you've seen the teaser, I feel like they kind of gave up the ghost on that one.
Well, I didn't watch it, so
but I won't say what it is.
So
that's fine.
Shelob or whatever from Lord of the Rings is like the giant. I don't remember.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, giant spider, creepy smileys. Now this shape-shifting man.
Well, on the heels of also talking about the shape-shifting man, the man in yellow, etc., Sophia, one thing that's been bothering me is Smiley himself. The one thing that I'm thinking about or concentrating on is that Smiley is back. You can't kill these monsters. They'll come back somehow, however way they can. However, that could be a distraction because I wonder if Smiley is not a monster anymore. I have no evidence for this, but part of me thinks that maybe it's like a rebirth. It's a nagging thing in the back of my head because that would mean we aren't down a man. And if he is mortal, we have 47.
I assume that this is how they live forever, is this weird cycle. Should the villagers ever find a way to kill them, which obviously does not happen. It's happened once in the entirety of the show. We know. No one else has ever talked about it. So to our knowledge, no one else has ever been able to kill one of them.
Right.
Okay? He dies. This evil chooses, how messed up is this? You choose someone,
the one person who can't get pregnant,
who cannot get pregnant, who knows that they cannot get pregnant, has already mentally dealt with the fact that this will never happen for them. As a woman, is really hard to deal with. I had fertility issues, and it was horrific to go through. To come,
and look at you now.
I know, and now I have a baby on me. But to come to terms with that, and then have that miraculously changed, you think,
and to give that person hope,
to then give birth to the very monsters that terrorize you,
and you can really connect with that.
I assume this is just
episode.
the cyclical version of how they stay alive forever.
Right.
Yeah. There's always people in the town. Anybody that gets pregnant, they could probably just do the rebirth that way also.
There's the question of whether she was really pregnant and it hijacked the pregnancy, or it was only because he died.
Yeah.
They never really said.
Right. How awful. Because I still wanted to pinpoint the moment when she became pregnant. I remember we talked about this last year. I'm like, I still can't track exactly when that sort of happened.
Oh, really?
Well, then the pregnancy wasn't normal at all. It was so fast.
Okay, there's also another bit of something, and it relates to Julie as well. The whole story walker concept, which I'm still kind of going back and forth on. In the recap before the episode starts, it shows Julie throwing the rope down. Oh, you can't interfere with the story, blah, blah, blah. And Julie comes into the scene. And even the man in yellow reminds her, hey, you can't change the story once it's happened. they're choosing to use this term story walker, and you can't change the story once it's happened. Oh, which Julie am I talking to this time? That sort of thing. I remember when I wanted to talk about this. What they're describing is two specific things, but they work very well together. And it's the fixed timeline theory meets the block universe. It's another way of saying story walker. So the fixed timeline theory in the block universe is, and it relates specifically to Fatima's pregnancy because maybe what happened was always supposed to happen. And it could be that it overlaps. Smiley was always supposed to die, and he was always supposed to be resurrected. So even then, they could have overlapped. It's a predestined overlap. He was always supposed to come back because they were supposed to live forever, and forever means always. So the fixed timeline theory in the block universe is the idea that everything was meant to happen will happen no matter what. It's most closely aligned with the fixed timeline concept, which is deeply connected to the block universe model. The fixed timeline theory, the past, the present, and the future are all set in stone. Any actions taken in the past, even by time travelers, are part of history and cannot change the outcome. It was always meant to happen. If you go back in time, you'll only do things that will already happened. This eliminates paradoxes like the grandfather paradox because your actions are already part of the timeline. The block universe model is also called eternalism. It views the universe as a four-dimensional block of space-time containing all events, past, present, and future, as equally real. In this model, there's no flow of time. Instead, all moments exist simultaneously. Your present is just your current location in this block. The past is a different slice of the block, and the future is another slice. Time travel, in theory, would be like moving to a different location in this block, but you can't change the past because it's already fixed. Now, how these two things connect? In the block universe, the fixed timeline emerges naturally. Since all events are already part of the structure of space-time, any attempt to change the past is just fulfilling a pre-existing part of the timeline. Like with Julie going to the past, throwing the rope down to Boyd, that was always meant to happen. She was always meant to story walk into the past that we got to see in the future, eventually in season 3. This means time travel does not alter history, it just reveals it. Paradoxes are avoided because the timeline is self-consistent. Your actions in the past were always part of the future you're traveling to. In short, the fixed timeline theory is the philosophical interpretation of the block universe model, both of which suggest that time travel is possible in principle, but any changes you make are already part of what will happen or has already happened. See, and then I'm wondering what could break the cycle, because it's always about cycles. As I was reading this, I was thinking about the 3 people that were chained up in the dungeon at the time, even as Julie's story walking into the past with Decrepit Dude and the Boyd and the well and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. These are 3 people who aren't connected to each other whatsoever for the most part. But then you start to think of who they are in the story. Where are we when we jump into the story in the beginning of season 1? The Matthews are basically coming in. That's your present right there. We meet Christy. She had already come in prior to the story. She's the past. And then you have Randall, whom we meet later on in, is it the end of season 1 with the bus coming in, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah, that is Endus.
Yeah. And so he's kind of like the future, okay? These are 3 different people in 3 different points of the story.
Okay.
All times exists at the same time. It's not Moon Wears Pants, Bridget. It's just a thought, because we'd always had theories about why are these 3 chained up specifically.
Well, isn't it partially because of the whole cicada thing? I mean, that was originally why.
Right. But then why? Why?
Okay, why were they the ones that were chosen?
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, that I don't know.
Because I feel like we have to keep ourselves as part of the story too. I feel like that's very important in figuring out this universe as well, where we come in.
Maybe we're number 47. I just wanted to throw that out there because you said that.
Okay, that makes it way more valid, because the only break in the cycle is where we come in. We're the thing that breaks the cycle. How? I keep thinking they're going to do this thing at the end of, okay, everybody, dial 1-800 from now, and then you get to decide how the story ends.
Complete the story.
Exactly. It's like a choose your own adventure, basically. And you're the one who gets to break the story. And you don't get to vote on a specific thing. You go, okay, you vote A, B, or C. We don't know what they are, but you just voted C, which means everybody dies. And that's how you break the cycle. Boyd's wife is right all along.
I'm waiting for that to be the case, honestly.
They were dead all along.
Especially based on this episode, too.
Yeah, exactly. Either this is Lost all over again, which, like, thanks, guys. You just went ahead and retold the story again. J.J. Abrams vowed that wasn't the end, but it was.
While also kind of wandering into like a Stephen King book where, oh, these people made a bargain with a thing to live forever.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it's going to be that Abby was right all along. And if you die, you go back.
Abby Stevens.
You get out. because that's the one thing human nature wise you're going to fight against.
The one thing that bothers me about that is that they could always bring in a bus full of people to fill in the 47. Actually, literally any point in time. There is something else that is bugging me. An Easter egg that you will have missed for sure. And it could be an homage. We could throw it over our shoulders. We could be totally fine with that. The Matthews home. Something is in the home. Something's opening the cabinets 3 times, by the way. It opens the one cabinet door, shuts. Then all the cabinet doors open, shuts. All the cabinet doors shuts 3 times. I know what the 3 means.
But it also threw the pot with the food in it. Is that for?
Sure, that was the first thing. But that was to get them in the room to see the 3 cabinets. Anyway, but the more important thing is the book that flies across the room towards Tabitha's head. If you flash really quickly at the cover of the book.
Yeah, I've heard some stuff about that.
Okay, good.
It's not a real book, but people want it to be, and they want it to come out.
It's called How the Light Gets In. That's the one thing you can make out. The title itself is a nod to the famous Leonard Cohen lyric, suggesting that it's the cracks or imperfections in systems and people that allow humanity to shine through. Who is cracking in this episode, if not Boyd? That's when his true humanity comes through. Now, he keeps saying he's a monster. Why is he saying all the things to Alice at the end of the episode? He's saying it because I feel like I'm exactly what Acosta thinks I am. I am unraveling. I don't know who I am anymore. I came into this universe organizing people and wanting them to have a system of changing places and not letting the monsters get them any one person at a time, changing our hiding spots, whatever. This was before the talismans. Here's another factoid. Are you ready? Our dear pastor, who hopefully isn't gone too soon, but I am going to assume that he is, his plates, his inspection expired in 2023. So either they're pulling people not just from space, they're pulling them from time. I don't know, guys. I don't know. I really don't know. And okay, I had that thought early in the series when we were talking about, okay, well, they could be pulling people from time and space. But then the bus comes in, it's Marielle. And Marielle, oh, I was looking for you for so long, and you were gone for yay amount of time. And we're not going to get into the details. Marielle, she had a drug problem. Christy left her. It's like, oh, I was looking for you, but then you went away, and blah, blah, blah. And my drug problem came back, and here we are. So that threw me off of that. See, the show's getting in my way of figuring out what happens when people get pulled in. But I got to say, the thing about the tags on the Alabama plate is it just says 2, and the sticker's kind of weird and crumply, but it's 2. Clearly, it starts with 2, which means we're in the 2000s. So it could be 2003, 2013, or 2023. Could be 2033. Let's get carried away now. It's in the 2000s. At least this pastor's coming from then.
Yeah. I guess you can go by the make of the car, too. That's
true. It's an older car.
Either, even though it could be an older car in the future. But yeah.
That's also true. It is like a Buick LeSabre, I think. And it is an older model, like that, so it could be 2003. Oh, it's entirely possible. It could be 2013. 2023, now you're stretching. Like, okay, this is a 30-year-old car, basically.
The TV series From is primarily set in 2022 based on production notes and the arrival of the main character family. However, the town is a time-displaced anomaly with character references to the 1950s, a pivotal tragic year of 1978, involving the character Victor, and dates on a lighthouse suggesting a history ranging from 1506 to 1978.
That would actually explain the 2023 plates then. If we're still in 2022, then that is consistent. Then he's still in the time frame where his car is street legal.
Yeah.
Not street legal, but
yeah,
he's allowed to be on the road. There's not a lot of time that's passed since the beginning of the series, too. A lot of this happens really fast.
February 28th, 2021 is when Fatima apparently came. March 18th, 2021 is when Kenny's family gets there. August 6th, 2021 is Christy. September 18th, 2021 is Sarah and Nathan. And then
Boyd comes in, I think, a month or 2 after.
And then February 19th, 2022 is when Frank passes out at the bar. Supposedly, this is all online, so God only knows, but
it is the AI.
The first part was AI. That listing with the timeline was off of a wiki, so they had to have pulled that from somewhere.
Right. Okay. All right. So this is where they tear themselves apart.
Now, do you think that means the massacre, or do you think that means more metaphorical? Because I feel like it could be either. We were talking a lot about that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, cycles, right? We're nearing the end of the cycle. This is basically what Victor experienced long ago, essentially, right? Is what we're saying? Is that's the
that literal part, like. Yeah. Are they literally going to tear each other apart, strung around the streets like he saw?
The difference is that Tabitha didn't die on the way to the tree. Maybe that would have changed the way that this went. Miranda died on the way to the tree. Tabitha didn't. So did that change the way that the massacre plays out? Because the night that Miranda went to the tree was the night everything happened. That did not occur here.
Not yet.
It's not played out that way. I mean, she may go back to the tree. I don't know, because obviously there's still the issue of like, do you try to save the Ankui kids? Does that actually get everybody home? We don't know, because nobody's ever been able to do it. Allegedly.
And that's the whole other end of the equation, isn't it? Even Tabitha is saying something that Chrissy basically says, this place has a tendency to make good people do bad things. And then Tabitha pulls a Jim, and by saying, well, is this place constructing sort of a quest for me to follow because they know that saving children is something I want to do? Is it making me feel certain things so that I go on this hope quest so that I'm strung along just like the audience is by the show? I loved that answer. It's a very Jim answer, first of all. And now that Jim's gone, she has to play both parts, which is great. But it's taking into account, well, hey, maybe this is what they want me to feel. Maybe this is what they want me to do to perpetuate the cycle. It's fair, too. I'm glad she's saying that.
I would like there to be a solution to this in which they can get home. It doesn't seem fair otherwise. Well, that's the problem with this, because it's always going to be the last thing that you think. Does it actually work because now you can't trust anything that they've done because they've lied in everything else? Or is this just another lie? So it's next to impossible to guess or know what would actually get them home. And is the true answer, nothing gets them home. And this is it. This is the end of it.
And she went to the tower and the boy pushed her out of the damn top of it.
And then she goes home, supposedly, but what if that is real? Now it's Victor's dad, but is it really Victor's dad? Because now there's shapeshifting involved. You just can't know. It's like, it's so impossible to be able to tell, because everything about when she goes to the regular world, everything feels off. Okay. Was that real? Or is that not real at all? We don't know.
I hate you. Do you know why? I don't hate you, actually. But okay. Let me just tell you why. It's for a very specific reason. Because you're like, I hate it when the Moon Wears Pants Dave comes out. But then this got me thinking of, well, what if this is a reverse Lost? Walk with me. A reverse Lost is like, okay, oh, the island is heaven or whatever it is, right? But what if the real world is this
limbo,
place?
Dave. It was supposed to be limbo, apparently.
Whatever. I don't care. That's proving that we need to break down Squawking Lost. No, I have to take notes and everything. No, thank you. But it's fine. Maybe? I don't know. We'll talk about it. But what if this place with its weird rules is the real world?
Dude, don't do that. I don't do that. I can't do it. I can't do it. It's like when you get one of those episodes of a TV show. This has happened in so many TV shows. It was in Sliders. It was in Buffy. I'm sure it's been in a million other things.
She said Sliders.
I did. I should have said Sliders. It's where one of the main characters is actually in an insane asylum.
Oh, I wasn't thinking that.
No.
But that's the same line of thought. And I cannot go down that road, because when we go down that road, then I start living in a headspace where I'm like, did I really have a baby, or did I never wake from the coma I was in 2018? I can't handle it. It puts me in like a bad headspace. One, that's lazy writing. It's like a cop out. It's Dallas all over again. It was all, who shot JR? No. It was all a dream.
I don't think you're understanding what I'm saying. Is I think the lives that they've been living on the quote unquote outside, that's all not real. It's a shared delusion.
That's the same thing, Dave.
A folie à deux, if you will.
Okay. Tomato. Like, it's the same thing.
It's only in here that people actually live. Everything out there is a big old shared simulation.
I hate it.
And
Hard
everything
pass.
in here, that's...
No thanks.
I passed.
It's like the podcast. Listen, my wife doesn't exist. I only live with you guys. That's the real world, right?
I've met her, so that's not true. Although maybe I'm still in a coma from 2018.
It's a shared delusion, Bridget.
Dave.
Shared delusion.
Go back to the license plate since you brought it up. You didn't bring up the Eloise part.
Oh, the license plate says 3LOI.
Spells it out. It's got an XO in there, but it spells out Eloise. Eloise is Victor's sister. Maybe she's still out there. He finds bones, but they're just some small bones, and I think he specifically says he couldn't make it out.
Yeah, he said he didn't know if he ever found her. I feel like,
and he also says
parts of her.
She's a good hider. So maybe she's hiding out there. Maybe she made it to the real world. Maybe it's just an Easter egg, but
maybe she's like Morgan
threw
Jones.
That on the license plate for some reason.
Maybe people don't really die. Shut up with your loss, Dave.
So yeah, I wanted to bring that up when you brought up the tags.
It's a good point. I was trying to transliterate the license plate into something that would be spelled out, but you just did it for me. So thank you. See, that was one thing that I was like, oh, should I bring this up? I feel better about that. Now that we're on the pastor, actually, small detail. Do you remember in seasons past that Father Khatri had assembled the Bible based on memory, basically scribbling down things, taking it from books that people came in, and he just made this hodgepodge of a Bible to put together for everybody to basically.
For some reason, there's no Bibles in the town.
Now there are. There's a whole bunch of them in the back of this pastor's car. This got me thinking a little bit about what was his deal, bro?
You had a bunch of Bibles in the back of your vehicle. That's mission work. Mission work can happen anywhere. It can happen in your neighborhood. When I think often when we hear mission work, we think of other countries because that's really big missionary work. But there's people in your neighborhood that don't know about God.
He's giving them the good news.
He's most likely moving to an area and he's planning on evangelizing. And that's how you do that, is by having the Bibles to be able to give to people.
Did they show Bibles in the back, or are you just guessing? Because I only saw the one
I didn't
Bible.
see that either. I was thinking the one that they used
to help her out. Yeah. So there is the one, but I think there was another one in the back at the very least. I could show screenshots. I will be very diligent in this, but it felt like if one is there and another one there is like, more will follow.
Could just be that he had two.
He had one of those office boxes, which indicates, okay, papers, which could mean books. So I'm thinking, okay, what is his deal, bro, is my thought. And the reason why I'm connecting it to Father Khatri in the first place is that, okay, it took so much effort to assemble that. I do feel bad for Father Khatri's sacrifice and all that stuff. But I was thinking as the episode was playing how this town has a way of giving the people what they need to subsist. Food, peaches for Victor, etc. All these things that end up coming in somehow. They have to categorize and inventory and whatnot, blah, blah, blah. Fine. One of those things is scripture, though. The things that they need isn't only limited to food. And Acosta, for a brief hot second, sees the hoodie in Tien Chen's lost and found inventory place, which she clearly sort of connected to. Maybe it's just she wants to get rid of the officer's uniform, blah, blah, blah. We'll get more to her in a second. But then you go to the Bibles. Okay, now you have a bunch of Bibles.
Well, maybe it's only two. I don't want to get carried away and say that it's a car.
One is
Bibles.
already a lot.
It makes me wonder if there is a balance of good and evil happening. Then
the Buffy way. Okay.
Then is this an attempt for the good to be able to provide hope to the people in town?
But what is the hope if not the thing that kills
so they
you?
can just tear it away.
Yeah, I know. It's miserable. This whole thing is miserable.
So that is sort of what I was thinking, though, is that, well, we've been saying up until this point that they're information sharing, what they've learned so far. I couldn't let them see me because they've learned too much, blah, blah, blah. And now I'm going to F their ass up. But still, another thing that would bring them together, just like Tien Chen's funeral, is having a place for comfort and whatever, and maybe a place to flavor aid themselves, right, Bridget? It's not Kool-Aid, it's flavor aid themselves. Jonestown Massacre. Holla at your girl, Bridget.
Yes, it was flavor aid. It was not Kool-Aid.
It's like I can never forget that fact now since we talked about it on the show. Maybe it's another means to break everybody apart. Because like I felt like for all of them trying to get together at the beginning of season 3, and there was even that monologue about how, and you know, they were together and blah, blah, blah. And then that's when things started to fall apart. Even the town itself, crops were dying, but winter, the town is sort of dying because they were believing in each other. And well, that's how I interpreted it. But now it feels like they're getting them together to maybe fling them apart for the town to explore, to tear each other apart. I don't know. I don't like this. Scripture, all of a sudden I'm against God.
Are they still low on food, or they have a bad food situation?
I think they can go get vegetables when they need them, I assume, from that place.
Yep.
From the settlement.
Mm-hmm.
In the woods, the log cabins.
The creepy settlement.
Which we're apparently going to see again.
Gotcha.
Cannibal Village, as everybody calls it. At least that's what we always call it. Cannibal Village.
Or the Spider Village. Sophia, quote unquote, or the man in yellow, tells Kenny about John 1:5, beginning of the Gospels, basically, right?
It's Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but the beginning of one of the Gospels.
That scene is so great. Every little thing is something you learn about what the man in yellow can and can't do, and blah, blah, blah. Dude, the man in yellow is touching the talismans. I don't know if they can actually touch them. Have we seen that?
Not a monster, though. He's not one of them.
Yeah, he's inside. He's touching the talisman.
Yeah.
That tells us, okay, the nature of this, what he can and can't do, but we can't tell that he can't do anything so far. Now, I broke down the etymology of the word talisman because I wanted to kind of figure out why are we starting off here, and then why are we jumping into a Bible verse? So talisman, one of the roots is telos, which means the root or source of something, which is usually the code for God. And then they talk about Jesus. Jesus in John 1:5 is the Logos. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness shall not overcome. This is like the light of the Lord, of Jesus. So the talisman is the telos, is the source. And if Jesus is the Logos, we're talking about God. And I wonder sometimes how this connects to how we can break out of the cycle as well. Now, the line is interesting because it has a double meaning. Light shines in the darkness, and the darkness shall not overcome / comprehend it. This is where it sort of gets interesting about the man in yellow, because he's the one / she saying the line, but if evil can't comprehend the light, it's kind of like the man in yellow is playing himself in a sense, because he's parroting something is like, well, I can't overcome it. He's trying to say something that he can't understand, but he's trying to do it obviously to bait Kenny, to give him hope, the thing that kills you, right? To comfort him because he's been going through it.
Oh, yeah.
The Greek word used here is kataleben. It's not really how it's pronounced. That's fine. Has a dual meaning that most scholars believe is intentional. One, to overcome / conquer. Darkness cannot extinguish nor defeat the light of Christ. Even the crucifixion, the darkest moment, resulted in the victory of the resurrection. Two, to comprehend / understand. The darkness, quote unquote, the unbelieving world, the man in yellow, whatever, is incapable of fully grasping or understanding the divine nature and mission of Jesus. It's also a parallel to creation, though, too. The way John words, the light shines in the darkness and darkness shall not overcome, is a parallel to Genesis 1:3. The light basically showing in the void, which if we're doing parallels, then we're talking about cycles. This is meant to happen over and over again. This is the rebirth, right? Of Jesus brings light into the void and for followers in the darkness, etc., etc. I feel like the man in yellow is giving them hope in the void. And I don't know if it's something that nourishes them or it's something that is meant for them to follow like a moth to the flame so that it's the means to demise.
We've had a theory in previous seasons that hope was actually the problem, that this worked in like an opposite way. The more hope that they had, the worse that the situation was, and that the monsters were feeding off of their hope somehow. That we've discussed in previous seasons coverage. So this would feed into that theory. Not to get like overly biblical on you, but if we're looking at evil from a biblical perspective, demons often are capable of quoting scripture because they know of God and Christ. And so it's not uncommon for them to try to utilize scripture. Like the devil tries to utilize scripture to trick Jesus during his time of temptation when he's in the wilderness 40 days and 40 nights before his crucifixion. It's not uncommon for evil to utilize scripture in a way to fool the people that they're trying to manipulate. So it didn't surprise me a ton when all of a sudden she was evil. I was a little bit disappointed because like I said, I was like, oh, cool. I love when we get to talk about scripture. It's like one of my favorite things, but then never
You
mind.
wascally wabbit.
Never mind. He's dead. Forget it. It's not going to happen.
No Father Catre redux.
I know. I'm a
basically.
little bit sad about it. I will say that, Dave, you are correct that it is pulling from Genesis, because oftentimes when you pull one scripture, you're told to look at the scripture before and after to fully grasp it.
The context.
You shouldn't just pull one line out and be like, good enough. That meets
That's
my
God
needs.
for you.
You're supposed to pull the surrounding text. And the surrounding text for John is, in the beginning was the Word was with God, and the Word was God, which the word is capitalized in this sense. Capital T, capital W, that's in reference to Christ, or the angel of the Lord is what he's referred to in the Old Testament. And so it's just saying that the divine Trinity was in existence at the beginning of time, and then this light was brought in to the darkness, and the darkness is essentially repelled from it. And John is the fourth gospel, but John was the disciple known as the disciple whom Jesus loved. That's how he refers to himself in his book, which is kind of funny.
That is funny.
Yeah, it's believed that he was trying to distance himself from writing a gospel, to say like, this isn't about me, it's about what the word is. So I'm not going to write my name, but it makes it seem like he's elevating himself above the other disciples, which is funny. Some other information about the gospels, they all start a little bit differently. And so this is the only one that goes all the way back to the beginning. Matthew goes genealogy, I believe, of Christ. Mark goes, I don't remember. And then Luke was not a disciple with Christ. He came after. So he comes and he interviews all of the people that are still living after Jesus's ascension, and gets essentially like a bunch of interviews done, and then compiles those interviews.
Well, that's why I misconstrued it. Like, oh, it's the first one, but it's not really the first one. But it compares itself to the beginning
Starts
of creation,
at the beginning of creation.
the light and the darkness, etc.
Let me look at Mark, because I shouldn't just say I don't know.
No, did say the answers at the beginning or something to that effect.
There you go. I guess he meant the Bible, creation. See,
Mark begins with
maybe.
the story of John the Baptist, who was the predecessor to Christ.
different John.
Yeah, John the Baptist is Jesus's cousin, not much older than Jesus, and is there to begin prophesying about Christ a couple years before Christ comes into his ministry work. It's just kind of interesting, this idea of like it's the answers at the beginning of time.
Kudos to Jamie on that one.
Yeah, thank you, Jamie. That ties it
It's
together.
a good call and response.
Instead of me just rambling about the Gospels for for 5 minutes.
To connect it directly to what we're referring to, it is pretty interesting. Like, oh, they were tongue in cheek on that one. They're like, yeah, oh, the answers are in the beginning of creation, guys.
I kind of wonder, though, if the man in yellow could actually be the devil or at least a demon, because it says that they made a deal with somebody. I think it's him. What he is, I don't know, but it does make you wonder, especially with what you're talking about. Maybe it is, you know?
Well, this is one of the questions I had, because the man in yellow has to have some level of omnipresence. And I'm not just talking about being everywhere all at once. I'm talking about every when all at once. Because when he talks to Julie, it's like, oh, who am I talking to now?
There has to be some limit, though, because otherwise it's going to be boring if he can do anything.
And he turned into a couch. That's what they
Well,
were
if he
talking
could
about.
see everything, though, he wouldn't need to infiltrate the town. Or is he just there to cause problems? Maybe he didn't need to. I don't know.
Or maybe to kind of go with something that was said on the show, maybe because they learned so much, he has to show up because they're at a point at which all his minions, if we're going to go by that, they've thwarted them. They know how to get around them. They know how to stay in town. Maybe they've learned so much on how to survive or whatever it is that they have the means of their escape. If this is hell and purgatory, whatever, I don't know what you want to call it. It's fine. I don't really care. Let's say that's the case, then they're close, which means now you're calling the big boss. The big boss is coming down himself to take care of business.
To your point, Jamie, because that's an interesting idea, right? And it brings up some imagery that's brought up culturally in terms of evil.
Horror lore? Kind of?
Yeah. Well, it brought to mind Supernatural for sure, because there's the demon with the yellow eyes, which is like a really big deal in the first couple of seasons of Supernatural, because they're hunting for the demon that killed their mother. But that imagery sounds familiar, so I just looked up Man in Yellow, Devil. And there is something, but it's from the Cthulhu mythos, which is kind of interesting. Hastur, Hastur, so Hastur. The Unspeakable One, the King in Yellow is one of his other titles, which the Cthulhu mythos is terrifying as well, because it's about the old gods, quote unquote.
Right.
It's really horrifying because it's like everything is way bigger than us and we are tiny and insignificant. And it's like a really scary thing to think about.
And how the hell did we make it all the way here with these things around?
Yeah. Hastur first appeared in Ambrose Bierce's short story, Haita the Shepherd, in 1891 as a benign god of shepherds. There's some symbolism there with the Lord is my shepherd, kind of a weird, kind of a weird thing. It could be just by happenstance. We look into things and we're making connections that no one ever intended to make.
The woman in yellow is the flood lady. The Japanese lore about that in the bottle tree borrows from another book about the faraway tree, I should say, borrows from a different book. Seems like they're borrowing tales or mythos from different locations. So if we're talking about the man in yellow, he could be, quote unquote, an old god from the Cthulhu-ish pre-creation, maybe even, right? The void. If we are talking about creation, it might not be the devil, but it might be an old god. I can dig that. And if we are going that far back, we should mention again, because we did mention this during our coverage of The Boys, the first episode, that season 5 of From has already been greenlit even before the premiere, and it will be their last season. So there is a ceiling to all this. Do they want to be giving up the fact that there are old gods running around? I don't know. It seems like that would be uncorking something that would be... It's like you said, if he can be anything, if anything could be anything, then what's tethering you, the audience, to... What's baiting the hook? You will never figure it out. And you kind of need to. What, if anything, is tethering you to the show, if not for the fact that it is solvable? Which is kind of like why I enjoy the idea of Smiley not being a monster anymore. It means, okay, there's a twist to this. There's a tilting of the tripod here. He's the 47th man. Jamie is the 47th man, the actor.
I know. I was going to say, you mean him, not me.
Yeah. No, not Jamie Ruby.
Know me. Although I'd be in a show if they asked me, I'd be happy with that.
Heck yeah.
That would be meta.
They can make me a red shirt. It wouldn't matter.
Especially since we just said we're the 47th person. We're the thing that breaks the show. As in all shows, cycles keep repeating until the audience comes in. It's not that technically that is the thing that breaks the change or change in the cycle, but it's us coming into the story. The fact that we're here means a change has to happen. Unless it's one of those dumb, it's not dumb. A lot of horror is like, oh, there's no happy endings. It's always meant to be that way. The audience will lose their minds if that happens here, I think. Unless it's like satisfying in a way, it has to happen.
I think it's interesting when you let evil win, and this is coming from someone who is a Christian, so fundamentally I don't believe that in life.
We all know you're a bad girl. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm so
I
bad.
think it's interesting for writing for evil to win. Like when horror movies end in that way, I think it's more interesting than when good triumphs over evil every single time. So I think it's okay if evil wins at the end of the show, but they do have to give answers because people are going to absolutely lose it if they don't receive answers for questions that they've had this whole time.
Well, I feel like the show is baiting me right now with this one because I was talking about telos and logos, and we're talking about demons, let's say, quoting scripture. What was the thing that they were saying that the monsters were most interested in at the beginning of season 3? They wanted Boyd to break. They wanted to break Boyd specifically because the big question was, why didn't they just kill him? Wouldn't killing him alone be enough to break the town, that they got him and they would all crumble? See, but they need the people in the town. You kill Boyd, another schmuck has to come into the town and be the logos of the town. If Boyd is the Jesus character and Boyd is the one that must break for the cycle to continue, right? Because the whole purpose is to break Boyd and he's the savior character. According to everybody in the town, Christy is even saying, listen, if you lose hope, everybody's going to lose hope. And then some dude named Eric from Colony House hangs himself in the bathroom, which, hey, it's canon. She has a reason. He was the guy that eased her transition into the town with his jokes, apparently, and his celiac disease in the clinic. Sorry. I read about this. I'm like, okay, who is this guy? Oh, yeah, she mentions this. She has a very clear reason. And look, after all the fighting back and forth, and Donna's even being like, okay, you can't do this. Ellis, oh, and that's another thing. Remember how Ellis and he didn't have a relationship? And now they do? Just like Donna and he, they're not at each other's throats. Interesting. Okay, fine. So the only thing I wonder is because I feel like there's two competing forces, because for all the times that Kenny and he, for that time that they split up, the town seems to want them to get together. And for all the he and Ellis not talking, for he and Donna not talking, now they're together. Is it what the town wants? Doesn't the town, or whatever it is, the entity that's keeping them there, doesn't it want Boyd to break? So maybe there are two competing forces in this town. I'm not saying good or evil, but let's say the Ankui kids or the boy in white.
Yeah.
Took the words right out of my mouth. Who I think we can all safely deduce is a story walker, like Julie at this point. It seems.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm so confused with him.
I don't know.
It seems like he can just kind of show up whenever, but I don't know how much control he actually has over that. However, he seems to favor Victor in a way. So I wonder if in his story walking, he saw what Victor went through, ensured that Victor made it through to be able to warn people of what was to come. So I don't believe that they can't change the story. Because the man in the yellow said that, even more, you should be suspicious of that quote unquote fact.
Evil. You mean Haster?
Yeah, because how I get it. I get time travel, and I hate time travel for this reason. I hate time travel stories for this reason because of the paradoxes that come through. It's so stupid. When I think about the Terminator storyline, it makes me want to kill myself. Like, it's just like too much. I just can't. So I think of Julie throwing down the rope. That technically influenced what happened. Now, if you're saying it's a fixed paradox, so she had to be there for the rope to come down, blah, blah, blah. That's dumb. I don't like that.
But it's a better alternative than being able to do whatever you want.
I think it would be interesting if a storywalker could end up being like kind of the champion of this and makes these critical little changes. But you have to be really strategic in what your little changes are, because it's the butterfly effect. Yeah. You go back to prehistoric time and you step on a butterfly and then everything is weird in the future. It's
like I was saying, though, I think anything she does has already happened. Unfortunately.
That's dumb, and I hate it. That's fine if that's what you believe, but it's stupid.
I mean, I hate it in a way. See, there has to be a purpose beyond being able to change this.
Yeah, then what's the point of being a story walker? That's stupid. Oh, I can go witness things as they horrifically happen to my family and want to change
Bridget,
them but not be able to? That's dumb.
To quote scripture, Revelations, it's for the audience to see a different point of view of something that is already happening in the town.
Don't use the Bible against me, Dave. How dare you? And he's using the New Testament. This is not okay.
Okay.
Revelations, which means what, Bridget?
Oh, I don't remember. We talked about it.
Apocalypse, by the way.
We always say time travel's okay as long as they follow their own rules. When they start breaking their own rules, then it's really screwed up.
Yeah, that's
Right.
a good point.
Yeah.
If the rules are what happens, I'm fine with that as long as that makes sense. And if they do break that because of the cycle or whatever, there has to be a reason to make sense. I think like if the cycle happens exactly the same again, there's no show. So I feel like there
Yes.
has to be something.
That's a really good point. Because then you're just witnessing something we've already witnessed through people's
yeah, we don't want
flashbacks
to be the
and
story walker and just see that again,
Yeah.
have everybody die in a mass. That would be boring.
yeah, that's true.
And that was my other fear about covering what we just saw, is that, oh, you guys have to wait and see. Boring. But for the most part, that's true. A lot of what I was saying when we started, to bookend this episode, is I don't know that we have much to talk about because not a lot happened. We retreaded the season 3 finale of the last season, and we only moved an inch into the next episode. I feel like a lot more is going to happen in the next episode, if not the third one, because that is when some crazy stuff happened. Season 3.
I want to talk about the sweatshirt.
Danny Acosta.
Yeah,
next.
you said you were going to come
Which
to
one?
it. And then,
The one that Acosta's going to put on?
yes, I think there is some sort of personal relevance to that sweatshirt, much like Tabitha's bracelet. She had lost that she then found in that Lost and Found.
The more I've thought about it, I feel like part of her problem and why she is busy bitching at Boyd and everything and why she points the gun at Donna even though there's no bullets. I feel like she cannot accept the fact that she's losing control, that she can't control everything around her. She seems like she's a control freak. So I kind of feel like it's more symbolic that she's finally taking the police uniform off. Maybe that's showing that she finally feels like she lost control.
Or that she's relenting, or that she's giving into this place like everybody eventually does, or inevitably does.
Yeah, but she's trying to hold on to it. I think that's why she is pointing a gun without bullets. She doesn't want to give up.
So she tries to clean up her uniform. Send in the Clowns by Frank Sinatra plays. And
Yeah, was this a different song than we've heard before?
they're all different songs, but it's really interesting. Not crazy in terms of like diner songs that would be on a jukebox. Yeah, Send in the Clowns could be there. It's fine.
But nobody ever plays it because who wants to listen to Send in the Clowns?
Okay, I'll tell you who. If you live in New Jersey, yeah, you're going to play some Frankie, Blue Eyes.
Okay.
I know there was a bar, New York was their close down song.
I'm going to give
And
you
I
a
hated it.
spoiler alert. It happens in most New York
I'm
bars.
sure it does. This was in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Karaoke.
So riddle me that.
It was the one New Yorker that
And it
moved
was
there.
like a super bro bar. And I was just like, I hate this so much. And of course, everyone's just drunk, just screaming the words. And I'm like, you're in Milwaukee, but that's fine, I guess.
Listen, it was after 9/11. Everybody felt closer to New York. Whatever.
It was in 2018. No, 2016.
Sure.
But sure.
All right, fine. So it prompted me to actually look into the song itself, obviously, because I'm me. Send in the Clowns, song by Frank Sinatra. It is ripped from a Stephen Sondheim musical titled A Little Night Music in 1973. It boils down to a breakup. You're in this long-term thing, and all of a sudden, and really the essence of the play / the song is they get yay far in life. They get to their later years, and all of a sudden, one of the couple just moves on, just goes away. Not dies, just says, I'm done with you. Send in the Clowns is a reference to the circus. When an act isn't quite working, they just send in the clowns to kind of pick up the slack, because like, oh, this isn't working, let's send in the clowns. But the whole thing about the thing is, oh, send in the clowns. This is too tragic. Wait, I'm the clown, and this is the joke. I'm the joke because you left me. Isn't that sad? Send in the Clowns is a song by Stephen Sondheim for the musical A Little Night Music in 1973. Frank Sinatra recorded the song in his album Old Blue Eyes Is Back. Hell yeah, he is, in the same year. By the way, this is from the franksinatra.com, so you know it's a real blog. Right, Bridget?
Okay.
Just
we
for
gotta
all
know.
the critiques I got from Bridget over the years. What is this blog from blogspot.com / medical facts / herbs? Anyway,
You've got to have high quality sources, Dave.
thefranksinatra.com, not .org or .net, Bridget. Okay. So
Wait, it's thefranksinatra.com?
it's the, as in the authority.
Okay, that's wild.
It's not
okay,
true.
I was like, that's crazy. who paid for
I
that
wanted you
domain?
to pick up on it finally.
Okay.
Somebody smart. Osgun Akalin is the article, and he wrote the article in June 3rd, 2011. Anyway, so what did Frank Sinatra say about Send in the Clowns? He said, this is a song about a couple of adult people who have spent quite a long time together to one day one of them gets restless and decides to leave. Whether it's the man or the woman who's left, it's unimportant. It's a breakup. It's a lovely marriage of words and music written by Stephen Sondheim. This is from his 1975 March 26 Caesar's Palace, Las Vegas performance. The whole point about this is, if this is the song that's playing, it could be one of two things. This is alluding to her life before, that she has had some sort of relationship, and the reason why she's here in the first place is because somebody left, either her or them, whoever they are. The other thing is, and probably more along the lines of what you're saying, Jamie, is the sad part is she's given up and that she is the joke, that she's pointing a gun that has no bullets in it just to maintain authority. Send in the clowns. Oh, you're the joke. They're already here. It's you. And isn't that the audience too? They see Sam Brown playing Danny Acosta and they're like, who is this person? Why is she? Oh, I don't like her. God, ugh.
Yeah, there's too much Acosta hate, man.
It's like that meta thing though, too. It's like,
yeah, I see that.
Could be a tongue-in-cheek reference to the audience reacting to Sam Brown / Danny Acosta. But at the same time, that's what makes her character all the more tragic. Because I had typically, this to rehash my thoughts from last year, it's kind of like the Buffy Slayer analogy. She was supposed to replace Boyd. Remember when Boyd was out in the woods? And then the entity was like, well, the Boyd's not here. We have to enter Danny Acosta. She was supposed to be the Boyd replacement. Maybe. I don't know. I'm making things up, but I'm saying they were occupying the same space at the same time. But now that Boyd has resumed his Jesus figure, what do we need Danny Acosta for? Oh, she's the clown. She's already here. And honestly, the show is quite treating her that way. She's getting in the face of all the characters, though flawed, we love. And what was the book that flew across the room in the Matthews house saying?
How the light gets in.
And the light shines in the darkness. Humanity exists in the cracks of our imperfections. Maybe it's Acosta's imperfections. Maybe her giving up is where we start to see her humanity, which is where she starts stepping into the story, where we start getting to see a little bit more of her.
I wanted to ask, speaking of the book, who do you guys think is the one that's in there slamming the cabinets and that? We haven't really talked about that.
Yeah,
I just
good
was
question.
curious what you guys thought. I've heard people say Jim, but I didn't know what to think.
I think everybody wants it to be Jim. That's why that's the suggestion. Maybe there is some link to the real world. What if this exists in our world and this is a pocket dimension or whatever? And then by interacting with the things in our world, does it change the way that it is in their world in this pocket dimension or whatever? I think that's a really cool concept. If you know that we only have this season and season 5, then it's like, I don't know. We'll wrap that up. So maybe not. Is it the Ankui kids again? Somehow, who knows?
Could be another Julie.
That's true.
Just can't see her for some reason.
It's a weird poltergeist element to all of a sudden like add in to the show. I guess if we need to have more questions.
Even asking the question, because again, new things coming in, like the man in yellow being able to change his figure to be something else or someone else. Then there's the whole idea of, okay, fine. But what about all the other things we kind of forgot as well? Like Father Khatri coming in and out. Will we see him again? These are things that just can't go without saying.
Jamie, who do you think it is?
I honestly don't know. I more listened to everybody telling me it was Jim and hadn't decided if I agreed with that or not. I do agree it's weird to add it now. It's sort of something completely different that we all of a sudden get. Because I'm assuming that like the voice on the phone and all that is probably the man in yellow and not actually Thomas.
Well then, wait. Yeah, you're right. Because I was thinking, what if it is Thomas? Well,
I know that's why it's probably him just being him.
Well, the man in yellow being the man in yellow.
Man in yellow being the man in yellow.
So he can be something else. And I heard somebody say, and I can't remember where, that, he can only turn into Sophia because he had her clothes. She was somebody he had killed in the past, and so that she could become him, which means that he could become Jim, too.
Yeah,
right?
He might.
I think there has to be some kind of limit, though. I know I said that. I totally think that. That's my theory, too. I think that he has to have probably killed them, but definitely needs something from them. Because I think that's why the monsters are collecting things in the cave. That was my big theory.
Oh, okay.
Oh, interesting.
I can
the
dig
suitcase
that.
was originally found in the cave, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where they saw the suitcase.
Yeah.
Right. The one that Victor was staring
Miranda's
at.
scarf and everything. Yeah.
And then him pulling the suitcase out of a ruin, or like the floor of a ruin that isn't the same one that obviously Julie walks into, but it's similar looking. He seems to pull the suitcase out of the center of a ruin of some kind. Some
Oh,
ruins.
you think that's where he dug it up?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't think it's the same one, obviously, but it's some ruin. Which, okay, what does that mean? Or is it another story walker? Maybe Sophia was a story walker too. I don't know.
Kind of a risky game you start playing if you're like recycling bodies, only because Victor has lived so long.
Oh,
Right? Now, Victor doesn't have the greatest touch with reality, so I don't know. But he does seem to remember faces because that's kind of his whole thing is like recognizing similarities. So wouldn't that be like a risky move to be putting on people's faces if they had been there when Victor had been there? Maybe it's before Victor was there, but that seems like maybe that would be where you would flub.
Sure. And maybe he's not accounting for that. And for some reason, Victor always seems to get by the sensors. I think
He's just walking
right,
around
of
in the
town.
caves and doing weird stuff. And yeah, he's like still alive somehow.
And they're like, yeah, whatever, dude. All right. So do whatever you're gonna do. Oh, hey, nice to visit us again, Victor. Oh, you're here with your dad? Let's scare him
He's
too.
lived forever. And that was without the talismans.
Yeah, somehow.
Maybe Victor's the mole. That would be
By the way, and
absolutely
also
insane.
through many cycles too.
Well, at least one.
Untold.
Yeah, we don't know.
Right, at least
We
one.
don't know.
Right.
I hate to cut you guys off, but I do got to go. Or they're
No,
going to be
that's
like,
okay.
"Here's the person who's running our podcast."
I don't know. Is there anything else to say? I really don't know that there is.
No, I don't think so.
I'm just going to run through my notes. Just then the pastor speeds through the town. Tabitha says to the kids, nothing's wrong. Let's go home.
Yeah,
Oh.
Julie knows something's wrong.
Yeah.
When her mom's not talking to her.
Exactly. So in the car interrupts her. And then Ethan interrupts her the second time when she's getting really antsy and it's dark already. I will say there is something about deliberately replaying the scene where Sophia / the pastor crashes into the station because they were very deliberate about repeating the fact that it clips the little punishment thing. Hey, did you forget about us?
Oh, yeah.
No, I didn't see that. Clips the punishment thing.
The box.
Is it a sign?
Remember the box from the first episode that they put Frank in?
Oh, really? Has she knocked
Right.
that?
Yeah, so
Or
she knocks
destroyed
into that. Didn't
It's
destroy
almost
it.
like a horse trailer.
I remember what you guys
Yeah.
were talking
Yeah,
about.
horse hitch. Yeah.
Destroy that on purpose so you couldn't.
Well, I feel like it's deliberate. Do you know what I mean?
That's good. Yeah,
Well,
good point.
if not for the story, then for the audience just to see.
Right. Chekhov's clip.
I will say we are so far away from where season 1 began.
Right, but the answers to the end are in the beginning,
Yeah.
and if that's the beginning,
hmm
see. And also to keep in mind, that is not a sheriff's station; it's a post
Yep.
office.
It is a post
Something
office.
I write every single time. Which, how are you going to get the messages out? Oh, maybe the answers to the end are in the beginning. Shut the f- up. Kenny and Boyd are on the same team again.
I'm glad that Kenny saw what Boyd saw down there.
I do
somebody,
too, yeah.
He's not crazy.
Yeah.
Symmetry. Tabitha echoes what Christy said. Sarah almost killed Ethan and instead killed her brother because something convinced her it would get them home. Tabitha herself was shoved out of the top of the lighthouse. I mentioned that already. She and Jim are made for each other because she says she doesn't know how she feels and needs time to process it. Jade, stop it with your conspiracy theories. The earth is round.
Elgin got his eye taken out. We didn't talk about that at all. You see the people that we see that have no eye. We see like a soldier with no eye.
Oh, that's a good point.
We've seen a couple people from other times. There was like a black colonial soldier.
That's
he had no eye.
interesting.
There was this white guy that
Yeah, the
I don't know, just
Confederate
had some
soldier, right?
raggedy clothes. He had no eye. Yeah.
That's really interesting, Jason.
So is that Elgin reborn or whatever?
Maybe.
You know,
Or like a
there's
cycle
people that are
repeating.
tied to
Maybe.
it. Yeah.
I
cycle.
do have to say, from a special effects standpoint, that was awesome.
Yeah, I wonder what Rachel would have thought about that.
She would have loved it because it was practical. It was so good.
Donna confronts Boyd and she tells him that Christy is stitching Elgin's eye, but Boyd has a 1,000-yard stare as she says, we have to discuss what to do with him.
Mm.
But then he kind of just moves on. I have to tell you about what happened in the caves rather than deal with the person who almost got Fatima, whatever. But even though they were too late. So what are they going to do
Because, like,
about
what
Elgin
can you
now?
do with him? You can't punish him because you didn't do it for Sarah.
Right.
Right.
And I think if you don't punish him, we talked about clipping the box,
Mhm.
right? But if you don't punish him, then you're acknowledging that this place makes you do bad things rather than you. And I don't know what I'm more comfortable with, to be honest with
I
you.
don't know.
We have to acknowledge that this place makes good people do bad things.
Yes.
We also have to acknowledge that I think, and track me if I'm talking crazy talk, but I don't think anybody in this town is bad. Randall kind of sucks, But he's proven that he had a gift for his niece.
Okay, but like you've met guys like Randall before in life.
Yeah, they're just kind of rough around the edges.
I've met tons of people like Randall,
but he's not a
they're
bad
always
person.
super softies once you get to know them. It's just that they have that facade built up because of the way that they were brought up. Low income, tough home life. Dad's gone or dad's abusive or something. Like those are the kind of people growing up. The guys that I knew that were like that, they really had it hard at home. But they were such nice guys. If you broke through that shell,
you're getting the cut of my jib. These people that stroll into town, they're not perfect, but they're not bad people either.
When you're thinking of contemporary good and bad, not biblical good and bad.
Oh yeah, as like in archetypes.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
What if this is a whole big Job story, right? We're testing everybody. These are all real good people. They're just putting under a lot of stressors and stuff like that to see if they break, to see if they die, to see what they would do. Randall obviously does a lot of bad things.
It's kind of an interesting concept.
Yeah.
Because Job is a unique book of the Bible. It's a very unusual story.
The deal with the devil basically is like, oh, if I can get the most righteous person to break.
It's one of the only recordings we have where God's talking to the devil directly.
And it's technically Old Testament.
Yes.
So
chronologically, it fits in like a weird spot.
Yeah. It's right after the Torah, but it's in the writings, the Ketuvim. It's like right after the prophets. So we have to discuss what to do about him against. But if we punish him, we're not acknowledging the fact that, see, it makes good people do bad things. Anyway, it's right in bold. Every time Boyd explains a story, it scares everyone that hears it, especially now the woman who gave birth to it. The final time, he goes into excruciating detail. Who needs monsters when you got Boyd? And of course, what's even more scary is you interrupt Boyd with Victor bashing around the bed in the hallway.
All right, yeah, I didn't want to bring that up because do you think that was on purpose?
It was kind of a weird break in the story to show that.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to see people go to the bathroom because your brain fills in that they do that when they're off screen.
Yeah,
like I don't need to see someone piss. I don't need to see this guy move a bed into his room for his dad. I just assume that that's what's going to happen.
And so why are we seeing it?
Why was his dad so cagey? Something about it felt off to me.
I don't like thinking about it.
Same here.
So let's say Tabitha didn't actually return to the real world. Then that's why this quote unquote dad would be acting cagey, because he's not actually Victor's dad.
I hate that.
Well, me too, but we've introduced shapeshifters now into the storyline.
It's the boy in white shapeshifted.
Is there more than one shapeshifter? There's more than one
it's a good acknowledgement.
creepy person walking around.
I distinctly remember your wife shouldn't have dug that hole. And when they did dig that hole, they saw two distinct things. The wires just led to nothing. Yep. The electrical wires, quote unquote.
Yeah, they were just hanging.
But then there was also cave paintings of the town, of the monsters depicting this or that. All right, they were getting too close, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
We acknowledge that the bed, it's not nothing. Why would you put that in there? If we wouldn't see this maybe from another angle, maybe we'll see that conversation continue between Victor and his dad after that hole happens. Maybe we'll backtrack. Could be interesting. Could be that every single episode shows the town from a different point of view. That could be cool too.
Right.
Interesting thought. Fatima goes into the shower and she showers her clothes on. Not that weird, but weird enough to be like, okay, why is that happening?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought that. Maybe that's kind of how they do their laundry.
Maybe
you would, right? To not waste water. But part of me was like, this is how you show her in the shower, though, also, because it's on television. You have to be able to do that in a way.
Wait, they've shown nudity on the show?
Disgusted with herself after having that? Or you're the perfect person to ask?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this is a big loss because it was the revival of Hope to then be smashed, which is like so much worse than it would have been.
And you have nothing to show for it.
Except a monster. And here's the other thing. You were fearful that something like this is what was happening. And you tried to tell people, the people who you trust, and they made you feel like you were crazy.
The irony is Boyd is now finally letting loose. He's telling everybody everything.
Yeah.
And now she's the one who's made to feel crazy, even though she did tell everybody. Kind of thus proving that it lends legitimacy to Boyd not information sharing in the past. We'll see what happens when you do.
Yeah. It's kind of too little too late. And then also on top of that, she's got to deal with the fact that there's going to be a level of guilt because you now brought a monster back into this situation, which then steals everyone's hope.
This is something you've mentioned.
And you were a linchpin of that happening.
It's because of you, quote, even though it's not because of you, it's the place.
This is really great symbolism for like miscarriage and like child loss, showcasing it in a very blatant way, because when you lose a child, even though logically, you know, this was not my fault that my body rejected what was happening or that this baby didn't grow, the way that it was supposed to or whatever. It's not my fault. Having been through the experience, people will tell you, this isn't your fault. This is just what happened. But some part of you feels like your body has failed you and you can't quite shake that. I get it. It's not technically my fault. You still feel like it's your fault. If I wasn't a factor, this wouldn't be a factor. This is such great symbolism for that. It's on another level. Yes. It's ham-fisted in the fact that she lost a baby and now we're going to see the after effects of losing a baby in very real terms. So you're going to see this in a really real way. But there's also more to this because this is such a weird storyline with this magical element to it and this evil element to it. There's some real components of psychology and emotional trauma here. Right, which could yield some interesting fruit too, meaning she could go on a journey and this could be something that she can overcome and channel into rage or some sort of way. Well, maybe then Elgin becomes right because this happened to her. It makes her overcome something and it could be the linchpin for them to come home. Maybe. But she needed to go through this to be, well, if you want to go with the Jesus route, like a transfiguration, like to be transformed. Mm-hmm. There's something to that, maybe. See, you wouldn't see the savior figure being the woman. No, I mean, but that's very patriarchy tenses. That's very current times. But they'd be doing it in a way that felt earned. What I would say is you're often comparing Boyd to that role. Well, in the Bible, John the Baptist comes first. There's a foretelling. So Boyd could be the JB. Yes. The wild man in the woods, you know? Well, if the wild open-toed shoe fits. There are some parallels there because we know very little about John the Baptist, especially his early life. Mary had a cousin named Elizabeth who was very old, like 80s and up, and had no children and then became pregnant, which is like Sarah. Yeah. Very similar. And her husband cannot believe that it's happening. And so God actually takes his voice away from him for the rest of the pregnancy. So it's like when Boy goes, he can't talk. I'm kidding. So when John is of a specific age, he leaves his parents and he goes to live in the wilderness. Like Frank Sinatra, like the song. Yeah, kind of. All we know is that he lives off of locusts, bugs, and he has camel hair clothing. You mean cicadas? I'm kidding. I mean, there was something biblical about the giant cicadas. Sure. You know? Listen, you've just in quick succession said a lot of things. Yeah. Oh my God. Similar to the show. Let's leave that there. That's fine. I'm glad we are still continuing this. There is one thing we should talk about. Julie is adamant about her mom telling her where her dad is and what happened in the woods with Jade and everything. Tabitha's like, I don't want to talk about it, blah, blah, blah. And Julie starts getting agitated, as Julie is oft to do. Then Ethan tells them to stop fighting. And then Ethan immediately says I'm like, oh no, it's okay. No, I'm so sorry. It's fine. But then Ethan immediately asks, after they have calmed down, whether dad is dead. Period. Yeah. Just go straight to dead. Right, Jason? Fair. But Tabitha quickly tells him that he could be somewhere else, which is also fair. Both things fair. He could be a colony house. He could be at the, hopefully not the station, the clinic, the RV. Right. Julie reminds Ethan that their dad told them, all we have in this place is what we believe. So we have to believe good things. Mom came home, dad will too. But that's the main thing, is the first thing. And this is something that's been bothering me since we started watching the show from the very beginning. I had always suspected, because it feels like this is the case, that the monsters are playing hide and go seek with the people. This feels like the nightmares of children. And the scary thing about this show, remember when I said this about the talismans? I said the talismans feel like they don't really do anything at all unless the people really believe in them. Boyd saw the talismans and really believed that they would ward the monsters away. And that belief in and of itself has been imbued magically or spiritually onto the object itself. They hang it up because we don't know why. It just works because we believe it works. Anyway, I had always suspected that, like thoughts though, they kind of run away from us. And if we really believe that we could be hurt, we'll be hurt. If we really believe we're going to be protected, we'll be protected. Who's in control of that though is really the question now. Is it one child? Oh. Or is it the collective of everybody's belief? And if it is, remember when they were bonding over Tianqin's funeral? Mm-hmm. They were all unified in the loss and the care and the love of one person. And the snow fell and the place started to feel like it was really dying. Right? And so if you can concentrate people, like they were getting close to the answers, what the man in yellow said. They know too much for me to get in the thing, because Tabitha saw the
portrait of the man in yellow. Anyway, whatever. But if they all in their own singular voice decide that they could walk out, then they will. All 47. Right?
I like that. So it brings up the conundrum, is this Stephen King rules, like one kid is in charge of everything, or is this like a Tinkerbell situation where everyone has
we have to all
everyone
clap.
has to believe? What's interesting about that, Dave, is that's also in scripture, is approaching the kingdom of God with childlike faith. Jesus preaches you should accept the facts of Christ essentially with a childlike faith. When you teach kids about the gospel, they just accept it. They don't have the burdens of everyday life and the cynicism of a life lived to question it. You tell them Jesus loves you and they're like, cool, that guy's cool.
Or like the doubting Thomas.
Yeah. You don't have they don't have any of that. They just accept things. You tell them things and they're like, cool. They may ask you questions about it, but they're accepting of your answers.
Right. This is the principle of the universe. Oh, you know what? That kind of brings up something then interesting about Victor and Ethan, because maybe what keeps this place going, maybe the child is Ethan, but also what if that's Victor too?
Yeah.
If Victor dies, the architecture of the monsters or whatever it is dies with it, maybe. But I do like the idea that maybe the one thing that they haven't tried is to all try and leave together. Walk down the road in unison, all together, all
Believing
47, and
work.
walk out. Yeah, believing that it'll work. And why wouldn't it anyway?
I like that, actually.
Just the act of putting foot in front of the other, all in lockstep, all lined up together, in one voice, march, march, march. Everybody hits the pavement at the same time. They all have the same voice. They all say the same thing that doesn't have to make any sense. Yeah, walk through the valley of the shadow. Whatever they want to say to get the hell out of there, right? Yeah, I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. And even the pastor himself, and I love what Jamie said, note that the crows weren't there when the pastor was there.
Yeah, that was really interesting.
And did you notice how the shot was laid out too? It's a very sunny day, not gloomy or whatever. You got to see the road stretch out in front of him. The pastor is like highway to heaven.
Yeah,
almost.
every other shot has been from that lower
vantage point where you couldn't see ahead of you.
It's like the lower right bottom looking up, as though you
at the fallen tree.
Yes, as though you were behind the passenger back end of the vehicle looking over.
Yeah, true.
That's kind of how it,
and the alternate shot was high up. This
was like,
where the crows were.
Was like more even.
Oh, okay.
What if we're the crows?
Oh, maybe. I do have a question for you. When they zoomed through town and all of a sudden there was a girl in the vehicle, weren't you like, where did she come from? I did not see her. I thought he was alone. So when all of a sudden she was there, I was really confused. Obviously, that was explained. But did either of you wonder what was going on with that? Or was I just not paying enough attention?
Just a little bit, but I just went with it. And I was like, okay, she must.
Yeah, because I missed it completely.
But yeah, he did look totally alone to me too when I first saw him.
Yeah. Why wouldn't she come out with him seeing the log in the road? That's the only thing I thought. Wait, where's this girl coming from? But then I kind of just took it. Okay, maybe she's just in there. Maybe she was asleep. We all sleep on road trips. One of you guys said about being out of time is how like, okay, Victor would recognize her if she was somebody that was killed by the man in yellow. Oh, okay. The old-timey clothes too that she is wearing, it feels older, dated, that you could take for granted. It's fine. It's classic. But yeah, it was interesting to see that the road stretched in front of them to almost infinity. It felt like it kept kind of going. And what if heaven or a test of heaven is just, okay, are you going to let the log stop you from getting to heaven? Are you going to let the crows get in the way?
Yeah.
Oh, somebody's telling you to stop, you stop? You just go. What made the pastor turn around? You just couldn't go through? Okay, fine. Anyway, I love this little spirited discussion we have near the end.
Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back after these messages.
We just thought we'd remind you to show this episode some love by tapping that like button, if there's one to be tapped, subscribing to our podcast or channel, and if available, enabling all notifications, and sharing the show, or clips of it, with everyone you know. And don't be afraid to reach out. Leave your questions, feedback, ideas, or even concerns in the comments section. There isn't one? Head on over to ratethispodcast.com/squawkingdead and leave your thoughts there. Rating our podcast is the best way to get our attention because it also boosts our visibility. And we'll probably address it in the next episode too. And if you think there's something to what we're doing here at Squawking Dead, tip us over on Ko-fi. As a token of our appreciation, you'll receive forever access to our Discord, along with 30 days access to our uncut episode and interview recordings, plus our pre-squawk insights. Take your support further. Join a membership tier on either ko-fi.com/squawkingdead or patreon.com/squawkingdead, and you'll unlock access to more channels on our Discord server, receive shoutouts at the end of every episode, and depending on what tier you join, the ability to join us on camera and mic to break down future episodes alongside us. Thank you for hearing us out and making it this far into the episode.
We now return you to our regularly scheduled podcast.
I guess that's it. So like Christy said, the Jesus character loses faith. I am not losing faith. I'm eager to see what comes next, and I can't wait to talk about it next week with all of you. Maybe even Bridget again. Who knows? It's a shot in the dark. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, Jamie, for being here. I've been here as David Cameo, and I was joined by...
Hi, yeah, you're joined by me, Punky Brewster. You can find me at youtube.com/@punkybrewster. That's PUNKYBRUISETER.
Jason, I'm at Neo's the One.
And Jamie, I'm at sci-fivision.com and sci-fi vision on YouTube.
And thank you all for being here. I can't wait to come back again next week and talk about this again, hopefully with more people even. But in the meantime, just remember that we are Squawking Dead. See you next week. Bye everybody.
Bye.
Bridget. Thank you for making it to the end of yet another episode of Squawking Dead. And if this is your first time listening to us, well, look at you. You made it to the very end. Our little post-editing wrap-up on From's season 4 premiere titled The Arrival. Super thanks to Jamie, who took the time out and lent us her thoughts for this episode. I may be showing up in one of her very long From live streams at some point, but we have so much work to get to. We are behind in our episode releases. I am currently recording this on the same day the next episode drops, which isn't as bad as our boys coverage, where we're literally a week behind the episode releases. Speaking of many thanks, we've reached the point of this podcast where we shout out our members. Verbally, we do this for our Survivors and Whisperers members. And since we only have Whisperers members, let's shout out the first one, which is Jason, who was with us during this episode discussion, lending us his valuable insights. You can reach him on Instagram via @Neos1. That's NEOS, the number 1, HEONE. Let's not forget Rob Lucchese, who's been with us on our discussions of The Boys. You can reach him on TikTok via @RobsStuff_N as in Nancy _Thangs. Rob Stuff and Thangs. Of course, last but not least, Kim Rowley, who you can find on Facebook via @Kim.Rowley, the number 1. Very excited, but very motivated to catch up with her workload. To that end, I will cut this very short as the Walkers members scroll on the screen if you're watching this on YouTube or Spotify video. And I hope you appreciate this because we know that you have taken your time out to listen to something that many people do. And we're grateful that you've taking the time out to wander in here and stay a little while. I hope you stay here for a very long while. And hey, make yourself known. Let us know in the comments who you are, what you're doing, what you're up to, what we think we've been up to, and how we've been doing as a podcast. Let us know what we can do to make it a better one for you. We want you to make this yours. We want you to be a we in the We Are Squawking Dead. And if you could take the time out, leave us a rating. If you are listening to us on podcast platforms, leave a comment. We just want to know who you are and what you love about us the most or what you don't. Take care. And remember, in the meantime, that we, like I said, are Squawking Dead.